something crawling in my cup.
Yo, what's going on, man? What we call this thing?
Kitchen Talk
CTC, Conversation That Cook.
I see why Lisa wanted to let you. We've been doing this show for a year and a half.
You know, listen, it won't be me if I just go ahead and just add a little something to it. I got it, because that's what I do. Right. You know, because I could have came on. That ain't what I'm going to do, though. We just going to go ahead.
You did it.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, that's all.
Don't worry, I won't steal the cookies anymore. 2 bags of chips.
Yeah, man, we had
Gotta love JT.
Mm-hmm. We had a great show today, man.
Awesome
show.
Awesome.
We have a guest with us today.
In our family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no, actually, you're not family till we start borrowing money. That's gonna happen.
Oh,
in
yeah.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
So
if you want to creep out the door, you might
This is your opportunity.
Yeah.
But today's show was awesome. I mean, just to be able to talk about activism, what it used to look like, what it currently look like, and what it will look like was, just a breath of fresh air. Talking about some of the shows that we've had in the past with different activists, lawyers, pastors, and to have you here too, just really to me brought it kind of full circle. What you think?
I agree. I think, one of the things that I always enjoy when we talk is that we learn from each other, and I think anybody that doesn't do that in anybody's conversation is really missing the point. Right. And so with that, I learned quite a bit about activism in the South. As y'all know, I grew up in the big city in New York, so activism for us as African Americans was a little bit different. Not a whole lot, but it wasn't quite. We didn't have to put up with some of the things that you guys did, which is tough, because I know if it was me, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you now. Right? Just keeping it real. So that was cool for me. I think the biggest thing that touched my heart was when we talk about the connection between our elders and our young folk, and us as a generation who I personally think we failed some of our young folk. So we all know about sitting around and snapping peas with grandma.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay?
Yes.
That's right. We didn't really snap peas up north, but we sat down and we talked to grandma.
Right.
We had the Sunday dinners after church where the family would get together. So that was a constant in my life, and unfortunately, and a constant in my family. We were able to pass that along to our children, but not enough of us are making that connection. And I just wanted to know, do you think if that were stronger, we would be a little bit further along, especially economically?
Yeah, I think we would be further along, because a lot, like I said, I didn't find out about how active my mom and my dad was until we had that talk, as well as my grandmother. My grandmother was one of the first females to own a cab in Tallahassee.
Oh wow! Okay.
My great grandfather, he ran moonshine for the sheriff.
Hey.
For the sheriff.
Okay.
You still got the recipe?
And when he had his farm, when he had all the property, because we came off of Bannerman Road back up north, the northern part of Tallahassee, everyone that worked for him ate. He made sure everybody ate.
Right.
You have grown, your family eats. So, they sit down, and they would sit down. I remember sitting in my great grandmother's house, and they'd be on the porch, and I hear all kinds of stories. And I found out about my dad's father. He had to leave because the man he worked for owed him money. They got into an argument. Back then, he couldn't stay after having an argument with her. He had to leave. Right. So I never met my grandfather on my dad's side because of that reason. So, I think we need to have the stories. We need to have the conversation, because not only for civil rights and activism, it helps us with our health history.
Absolutely.
So we and that's not happening now.
I'm surprised.
Because you got your great grandmother.
Yeah, right. Well, because it's on type 2. I'm pretty active, dude. I try to stay active and do stuff. There's a point that we get lazy. what I will say about fam, I love this place. I'm not an HBCU grad, but boy, I tell you, if I had to do it all over again, I would.
Right.
But we eat, and we eat good.
Right.
And there isn't a day that doesn't go by that if I'm not sitting in a meeting or invited to something, that I'm not eating soul food.
Yeah.
Right. So of course now we've done that since we've been here.
Right.
This is who we are.
Right.
The difference is not to make it a side comment here, but the difference is we are not as active.
Not exactly.
A lot of our kids are doing more of this versus more of that.
Yes.
But yeah, hereditary is important because it doesn't run on my mother's side, and I'm pretty healthy. I mean, yeah, I cheated and didn't really eat right, but for the most part, I stayed active, which is what you have to do to burn off the sugar.
I would say that hearing your stories and hearing your stories, how they still relate north, south, east, or west.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter.
It always comes back to family.
Yeah.
It always comes back to, I remember that time. I remember that story. And then really sharing that with other people so that the stories are never really lost.
Right.
You know, so we don't repeat it.
Right.
You know, so we can carry that forward. I think that really helps build ourselves, build our culture, build our view set of what the world looks like.
You know, Franz, especially for us as men, one of the things that we don't do enough of as men is mentor our younger brothers. We don't take them by the hand and say, okay, it's all right to look at a sister, but there's a proper way to address her. There's a proper way to behave when you're around a woman. And it's a variety of things, not just with women, but in terms of that connection, that's the biggest piece for me, is that, you know, we don't have enough young men who are capable, who understand what self-respect is about, which is truly what this is, versus anything else.
But I think the thing about that is that I've experienced this where you try to talk to a young brother, and now you gonna end up having to whoop it because he don't know, you know, because he does not know that you're just trying to look. Bro, I'm just trying to tell you and help you. And, nah, man, you disrespect me.
So I agree with you.
I disagree though.
Okay.
Because I work with a lot of young folks. And yes, there are some knuckleheads.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, when you're sharing, you know, hey, this is what happened and this is the truth.
Right.
You know, even though you think they're not listening, they are listening.
They are. It does come back.
It comes back. They may not get it today. Good example, I had a class, I want to say a year ago, maybe 2 years. Student was probably one of my roughest students. You know, like always a problem, always Mr. Moyes, always something. Okay, she went on and graduated. I'm at Publix, getting my stuff, minding my business. Who runs up to me? Not just walks. You know, runs. Mr. Moyes, I'm like, look who's coming down the aisle. The same one that gave me the, you know, most headache. Hey, school's going well. I'm happy that you said this. The only regret I have is that I didn't listen to you earlier. I could have made so much more gains. But she did listen. She did something. So yeah, you may want to, you know, beat them up from time to time.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
but
they're doing it.
I kind of see where you are, because I, as an, you know, bit of an instructor, I get that as well. When I get it though, they're 18, 19, 20, 21. By then, you need to kind of have a general idea of who you are. Now, I kind of give that a pass, because when I got to that age, I was still trying to figure that out.
That's correct.
And as a direct
Especially
result,
in this world.
right? And yes, and that was a direct result of not having a father. I've had men in my life who were father figures. I have a stepfather, but no one consistent that I could turn to and say, okay, I did this, or how do I do that, or what do you think about?
Right.
So I think again, you know, that making that connection and finding the people that are willing to listen. Because I get a few of them that are like, "What you mean you talking to me?" And I'm like, oh, "Okay, I'm going back. 6'2", 250. I'm not gonna mess with you."
Not gonna do it.
Again, I think that's why the work that you do is important.
Yes.
You know, sharing the message, the work that we do is important. Sharing the message, but then also actively doing the work.
Right.
Actively getting out. And you know, yeah, you heard the speech. Great.
So what
we all got a dream.
Right. So what do we do now?
What do we do now? What are you doing right now so that we can actually not just see the dream, but live the dream.
I agree with that.
Because I had a cousin that went to the Million Man March with Farrakhan, and I was like, okay,
Good.
so what y'all gonna do now?
Right.
Y'all left us home. What y'all gonna do?
Right.
We need to see y'all do something.
Right.
I mean, he went up there. She told y'all he took y'all to the mountain. But we sisters are here wondering, what are you going to do now?
Right.
You know?
That's still one of my biggest things with the march. Granted, it was great that you got, that many people to show up to march on Washington, but it goes back to the same lesson. Yeah, we marching on the streets. Yeah, we in the classroom, but what's happening? Is there any progress
being made
towards the purpose? And if there's not, we need to go back to the plan and make a change. Y'all got me going to my workshop.
Hey, we gotta say thank you for coming down.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I really appreciate it. I enjoyed myself.
And that family part, that when we shut this off, we're gonna be asking for some money.
But she got it.
Oh, I heard.
I won't let him do it to you, Renitta. I won't let him do it.
You gotta play the correction plate before you go to the,
Right. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me. Yes.